Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into your web automation toolkit. We're going to focus on two things you see everywhere: checkboxes and those pesky pop-up alerts. We're going to take these common hurdles and turn them into super simple automated steps. Okay, let's really get into this. For you and me, it's just a simple click, no big deal. But for a script, these kinds of dynamic elements can bring your whole automation to a screeching halt. So today, we're going to break down exactly how you teach your Selenium script to handle them like a total pro. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to get tactical with checkboxes. Then we'll move on to conquering those web alerts. After that, I've got a couple of really cool advanced tricks to show you, and we'll wrap it all up by reviewing the awesome new tools you've just added to your kit. All right, first up, checkboxes. Now, these seem pretty simple, right? But to automate them really well, you need more than just one command. We're going to go from the basic single click all the way to making smart conditional choices. So mission number one is the single click. This is your bread and butter. All you have to do is find a unique way to identify that checkbox, like its ID or XPath, and then just call the .click method. It's simple, it's effective, and it just works. But what if you need to select like all of them at once? This is where a really powerful automation pattern comes in. First, you find a locator that all the checkboxes share. Second, you get all of them into a list using find elements. And finally, you loop through that list and click each one. Find, get, loop. Simple as that. Creating the right locator is absolutely key here. If you just use the class name, you might accidentally grab other things, maybe radio buttons. The real secret is to combine attributes. Here, we're telling it we want an input with a specific class and a type of checkbox. That's how we zero in on exactly what we need. Okay, this is where we get a little more tactical. Selecting, let's say, the first 3 checkboxes. That's easy. You just loop from index 0 to 2. But what if you need to select the last 3? Well, that needs a bit more thinking. You can't just start at 0. You need a clever way to figure out exactly where your loop should kick off. And here is that clever bit of logic. It's a super simple formula. You just take the total number of checkboxes you found, subtract how many you want to select from the end, and bam, that's your starting index. Your loop starts right there and goes to the end of the list, perfectly grabbing just those last few items for you. All right, we've got checkboxes handled. Now, let's switch gears and talk about web alerts. These pop-ups are a totally different beast. You can't just inspect them and click. They kind of live outside the main web page, which means they need a completely different strategy. So, in the world of automation, you're going to run into 3 main types of these alerts. You've got your normal alert, which just has an OK button. Then there's the confirmation alert, which gives you a choice, OK or cancel. And finally, you have the prompt alert, which actually asks you to type something in before you can close it. So to take on a simple alert, you've got to tell your driver to switch its focus away from the web page and onto the alert itself. Once you've made that switch, you just call the .accept method. That's basically the code equivalent of clicking OK. Now, the confirmation alert gives you a choice. After you switch focus to it, calling .accept will click OK, just like before. But if you want to hit that cancel button, you use a different method, .dismiss. It's really that straightforward. And finally, we have the prompt alert, which is the most involved of the 3. This one always needs a 2-step attack. First, you send the text you want to enter, then you close it by either accepting or dismissing. All right, now for the really fun stuff. We're heading into the advanced section. I'm about to show you 2 powerful techniques that can solve some really tricky automation problems that honestly stump a lot of developers. So get this, did you know you can actually handle alerts without even using the switch to command? It's true. By using something called an explicit wait, you can tell your script, hey, just pause until an alert shows up. And when it does, the wait condition grabs the alert for you as an object that you can then work with directly. Pretty cool, huh? And here is a fantastic solution for a very specific and very annoying problem. Those browser-level authentication pop-ups, you know the ones. They aren't JavaScript alerts, so Selenium can't touch them. The workaround is to sneak the username and password right into the URL itself. The browser sees those credentials, authenticates for you automatically, and the pop-up never even appears. So let's do a quick recap. In just a few minutes, we've added a whole set of powerful and really versatile tools to your Selenium automation toolkit. Think about it. You've got the tools now for everything from a simple .click to using .find elements to loop through a whole bunch of checkboxes. And for alerts, you have a full command suite. You can switch to .alert and then .accept .dismiss, or even use .send keys to handle any kind of pop-up that gets thrown at you. You know, mastering these fundamental interactions with things like checkboxes and alerts really builds a solid foundation for your scripts. It opens the door to automating way more complex user journeys and workflows. So the only real question left is, what are you going to automate next?